너 안 본 사이 많이 세졌다?
The Witch, a cinematic masterpiece praised by Korean media, this action-packed film has captured the hearts of countless viewers, becoming a timeless classic. Its influence is undeniable, and you can see just how far-reaching it is through the incredible career of lead actress Kim Demi. At just 23 years old, Kim Demi, a newcomer in the industry, stunned audiences with her role in The Witch, earning the prestigious Best New Actress award at the 39th Blue Dragon Film Awards in South Korea. Since then, she has been on an unstoppable roll, winning 6 major domestic and international awards, making her a unique miracle in the industry, a newcomer actress who won 7 awards with just one movie. Kim Demi's portrayal of the first generation, which is chillingly captivating, embodying the terrifying and mysterious traits of a dark and calculating female character that will send shivers down your spine. After the US successfully created superheroes like Captain America with its super serum, Korea, as an ally, also yearned to have its own superheroes. To make this dream a reality, South Korea brought together top scientists to embark on a years-long, top-secret gene modification experiment. During these experiments, a number of mutants were created, and the protagonist, Ja-yoon, stood out as the most exceptional of them all. At just 8 years old, she was deemed an S-class subject with an IQ of an astonishing 380. During fast-paced image sorting tests, she could outsmart computers, locating hidden playing cards in just 2 seconds. But that's not all. She also possessed extraordinary sensory abilities, enabling her to detect imminent danger and develop telekinetic powers to control objects with her mind. With her mental powers, she could effortlessly disassemble and reassemble objects, shaping them into anything she desired. To enhance her combat abilities, Dr. Beck injected her with violent genes from notorious killers. However, the results far exceeded expectations, and Ja-yoon's power became so overwhelming that the higher-ups began to fear her. Ultimately, the higher-ups decided to halt the experiment and eliminate all test subjects, but they underestimated Ja-yoon's sensory abilities. Realizing the danger, she went into a destructive rampage, swiftly eliminating anyone who stood in her way within the lab. By the time backup arrived, the lab was in ruins, and Ja-yoon had escaped, only to collapse from exhaustion on a farm far from the city. Thankfully, a kind-hearted farm couple found and rescued her. Doctors later discovered that she had lost all her memories due to severe trauma. The grieving farm couple, who had lost their son, took Ja-yoon in as their own, showering her with love and care. Years passed, and the now 18-year-old Ja-yoon had grown into a loving, devoted daughter to the couple. She helped them manage the farm, but with the business in financial ruin and her adoptive mother suffering from Alzheimer's due to her grief and aging, Ja-yoon desperately wanted to ease their burden. One day, her best friend told her about a grassroots talent competition where the winner would receive a huge prize of 500 million Korean won. Knowing Ja-yoon's impressive academic record and her natural singing talent, her friend encouraged her to enter the contest. When Ja-yoon took the stage, she captivated the audience, revealing her hidden vocal skills beneath a seemingly ordinary exterior. She instantly won everyone over. When the host asked her about any other talents, she amazed the crowd with her David Copperfield-like ability to control objects with her mind, clinching the victory and advancing to the national finals. With her remarkable talents, Ja-yoon is impossible to ignore, and her journey is just beginning. However, when her adoptive parents saw Ja-yoon display her supernatural abilities on stage, her father's expression turned grave. Her parents, who had raised Ja-yoon, knew very well that what she had demonstrated wasn't magic but a power far beyond ordinary human capabilities. In fact, the strange deaths of the farm's cattle and sheep over the years had already alerted her father to the truth that Ja-yoon was no ordinary girl. Before Ja-yoon even arrived at the farm, she had collapsed. Covered in blood, they were afraid that Ja-yoon's powers would be exposed, bringing disaster upon them. Though Ja-yoon always insisted she was fine, she had been suffering from severe headaches for the past 6 months and could hear strange noises from miles away. But to avoid worrying her family, she silently endured it. On her way to the national finals, Ja-yoon encountered a strange man. The man immediately approached her, claiming to be an old acquaintance and asking if she didn't remember him. At first, Ja-yoon thought he had mistaken her for someone else and didn't pay much attention, until the man suddenly tested her, causing her to panic in fear. The man was shocked by her reaction and found it amusing. This surprised him. Seeing that a crowd was beginning to form, he decided to leave for the time being. As he walked out, he collided with a stranger. This made him very angry.
어이 덩어리, 니 지금 내한테 한 소리가?
그럼 여기 너 말고 또 누가 있어요? 있잖아.
야, 아 잡았나 지금?
네 새끼야.
With just one hand, he casually handled a grown man as easily as crushing an ant. Meanwhile, Ja-yoon continued to shine on the national finals stage, winning the championship with no surprises. Just as she and her best friend were about to head home, a group of mysterious men in black appeared, attempting to forcefully take Ja-yoon. Thankfully, the crowd around them helped them escape. At this point, Ja-yoon began to realize that ever since the competition began, strange things had been happening, and strange people were continuously showing up. Back in her small town, the nobleman, appeared again and threatened her to go home and check on something. Ja-yoon rushed home, worried, only to find her father and her best friend's father leisurely playing chess. Relieved, she temporarily set her worries aside. Unbeknownst to them, Nobleman and his group were no ordinary individuals, they were mutants cultivated by Dr. Back. After Ja-yoon exposed her supernatural abilities to the public, Dr. Back, who had been searching for her for years, instantly recognized her as his prized S-class experiment. He immediately sent Nobleman and his team to bring Ja-yoon back unharmed. However, Mr. Choi, the company's designated cleanup specialist, strongly opposed this. Although Mr. Choi and Dr. Back worked for the same company, they were in different departments and had long-standing disagreements. Years ago, the bloody incident Ja-yoon triggered was handled by Mr. Choi, and he knew all too well the danger Ja-yoon posed. He had always advocated for eliminating out-of-control test subjects, but Dr. Back, confident in his status as a special envoy from the headquarters, ignored Mr. Choi's warnings. He secretly ordered Nobleman and his team to wipe out everyone involved with the project. This move made Mr. Choi realize that Dr. Back was trying to cover up the secret, putting their very survival at risk. He decided to take the initiative and seize Ja-yoon in order to balance the power against the headquarters. One night, Ja-yoon, suffering from a headache, sensed someone had broken into her home. Stepping outside, she found herself staring down the barrel of a gun, while her best friend had a knife held to her throat. Surrounded by armed men in black, the leader, a man with a scar on his face, pointed to his injury and told Ja-yoon that he nearly died at her hands. Convinced that she was the witch he'd been searching for, Ja-yoon, confused and desperate, pleaded that she knew nothing, seeing that she wouldn't admit to it. The scarred man ordered his men to harm her best friend.
나 아니라니까 진짜. 아니라고. 내가 아니랬지.
In that moment of crisis, Ja-yoon instantly transformed from a timid, scared girl into a cold, ruthless witch, her terrifying powers making her best friend recoil in fear.
아니긴 뭐가?
At that moment, Nobleman appeared, confirming that Ja-yoon was the person he had been looking for, his excitement palpable. Their mission was to bring Ja-yoon back to Dr. Back, or else they would eliminate everyone who had come into contact with her. To protect her family and uncover her true identity, Ja-yoon reluctantly agreed to go back with them to the research facility. Once at the facility, Ja-yoon was immediately taken to the lab. Seeing his prized experiment return, Dr. Back was overjoyed and immediately ordered that the latest experimental drug be injected into Ja-yoon. It turned out that Ja-yoon, as a perfect specimen, had a fatal flaw. Without the right medication, she would die from uncontrollable violence when she turned 18. Dr. Back's action was meant to prolong her life and also to awaken her memory. As the drug began to take effect, Ja-yoon's headache worsened, and Dr. Back started recounting her past. Ja-yoon was an extraordinarily rare S-class experiment, far surpassing her peers, and naturally possessed the demon factor. Dr. Back was curious about how she had managed to suppress her violent tendencies for so long without being discovered. However, after the second injection, Ja-yoon suddenly regained her consciousness and flashed a mischievous smile.
솔직히 기대 이상이네.
It turned out she hadn't lost her memory at all. This left Dr. Back stunned, until Ja-yoon calmly revealed that only he could cure her, at which point Dr. Back realized she had never lost her memory. She ruthlessly eliminated the guards in the chamber and fired several shots at the bulletproof glass in the lab. After confirming the glass's strength, she turned to the mirror behind which Dr. Beck was hiding, giving him an expectant smile before disappearing into the smoke of the neurotoxin. By the time Dr. Beck realized what had happened, Ja-yoon was standing right behind her.
진짜 반가워요, 박사님.
너
당연하죠. 난 내가 누군지, 당신이 누군지 너무나 잘 알아요.
It was all part of Ja-yoon's plan. She had carefully chosen her adoptive parents as a cover, spending 10 years hiding on this remote farm. As her condition worsened, she realized her time was running out, so she thought of Dr. Beck. Knowing that only he could save her, she deliberately entered the national competition to expose her abilities and draw Dr. Beck's attention. High-level hunters often appear as prey themselves. And now, with her plan successfully carried out, she no longer needed to pretend. Dr. Beck finally understood it wasn't Ja-yoon who was found by him, but rather Ja-yoon who had been targeting him all along. To secure more suppressor drugs, Ja-yoon had no hesitation in firing at Dr. Beck and pulling him along to continue their search for the medication. At the same time, Nobleman sensed something was wrong and rushed to protect Dr. Beck, only to encounter Mr. Choi and his team along the way. Mr. Choi was skilled in dealing with mutants, so Nobleman left 2 of his men behind to hold off the group while he went to handle Ja-yoon himself. Mr. Choi's men quickly learned how to hunt mutants, but they didn't expect that mutants came in different levels, and when they faced an A-class mutant, they were unable to cope.
대가리는 누가 딸래?
Meanwhile, Ja-yoon, who had Dr. Beck with her, also sensed the danger.
너 안 본 사이 많이 세졌다?
It turns out that when Ja-yoon was escaping years ago, she had spared the B-class mutant, Nobleman. Now, he had fully developed the strength of an S-class mutant, even surpassing that rank. He wanted to test whether he could defeat this naturally born S-class witch.
느리네.
Nobleman never imagined that, despite both being S-class, the gap in strength between him and Ja-yoon was so vast. What's even more terrifying is that Ja-yoon seemed to have known from the very beginning that they were no match for her. Only Ja-yoon knew this in her heart. The research facility had rated the highest combat rank as S-class, but even 10 years ago, she was already an S-class being. Now, she had long surpassed that level, so these so-called S-class mutants were still like ants in front of her. Just as Ja-yoon was about to eliminate Nobleman, Mr. Choi suddenly fired, shooting through Ja-yoon's spine and temporarily paralyzing her. This gave Mr. Choi the chance to personally deal with the 2 monsters. Seeing the tables turn, Dr. Beck shouted in panic.
머리를 날려! 그 괴물 새끼들 다 날려버리라고!
This action completely enraged the approaching A-class mutant. Just as Dr. Beck thought he had narrowly escaped, he was shot by Mr. Choi. He never imagined that Mr. Choi had long looked down on her, and now that he finally had the chance to get rid of her, he certainly wouldn't let it slip away. However, Mr. Choi seemed unaware that mutants don't die unless shot in the head, so his attack didn't fully resolve the problem. The unlucky Mr. Choi completely enraged Ja-yoon. In front of her, he had no chance of retaliating and ultimately met his end in the northwest. Next came the ultimate showdown between mutants. After regaining his composure, Ja-yoon knew that his strength was no match for Ja-yoon, so he used the medication as bait to distract her, while secretly preparing the A-class mutant to launch an attack.
보고 싶다 그랬지. 내가 얼마나 대단한지. 보여줄게.
However, in the face of absolute power, all their plans seemed futile. Nobleman snuck up behind Ja-yoon, but found that he couldn't fire. In Ja-yoon's domain, everyone was like lambs to the slaughter. Even powerful mutants couldn't move. Nobleman waited in despair for the witch's punishment.
이렇게 걸레가 돼도 쉽게 죽질 못해.
족같아 하지 마. 내가 죽여줄게.
After eliminating all the threats, Ja-yoon successfully obtained the remaining few vials of medication, but these were far from enough to prolong her life. She left a few precious vials for her adoptive mother, as Dr. Beck's medication had shown promising effects on Alzheimer's disease. Just as Ja-yoon was about to leave and keep her adoptive parents out of harm's way, her adoptive father stopped her.
네가 뭘로 태어났든 우린 널 그렇게 키우지 않았으니까.
He hoped she could abandon her dark path and return to a normal life. This was the hope of her adoptive parents. They firmly believed that a child raised with love would turn out to be kind. However, Ja-yoon didn't respond. She simply left, said goodbye to her best friend, and embarked on a journey to seek survival. Months later, in a villa by the sea in a foreign country, a woman was looking through the experiment records when Ja-yoon suddenly appeared. She was actually Dr. Beck's twin sister, the true creator of the medication. Just as Ja-yoon demanded she hand over the formula, a girl filled with murderous intent suddenly appeared by her side. A new crisis was about to unfold.
너 언니한테 까불면 뭐가지 나랑